Hello? Hello? Well, if you're hearing this, then forget it. Anyways, my name's Jacob. I'm usually just a cleaner here. It's a summer job only, really. I've just left school. But they asked me to take the night shift for the week whilst they get another guard. Apparently, some guy who worked the day shift at the old Freddy Pizza in, the 80s is up for the job. God knows why. This place, it just sends shivers up your spine. Gets under your skin, where you know something isn't quite right, but it's like no one can see it. Those animatronics, it's just something that doesn't ever seem right. That piercing glare in their eyes when they stop dead on you. Hell, it's even worse when you catch them watching you from the corner of their eyes. And when they know that you've seen them do so, there's always that violent twitch. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but no AI should be able to do that. And I don't mean like a tick, be it from stiff joints on the automatons. I mean like a human twitch, where it's out of control. These clunky old pieces of shit can't exactly move fluidly, save for one. Well, Foxy the Pirate Fox, if you can't tell, was in for repairs after several malfunctions, apparently a failed audio chip or something like that. According to witnesses, it was ravaging on about "it's me" or something, and began to violently break down and spasm, which caused damage to its exterior as well as its interior. You may have noticed its jaw. Well, during Foxy's rampage, it eventually toppled over and crashed to the ground, the jaw being the first part of it to collide and suffer the impact, so the hinges on its jawpiece were fucked. Anyway, if you don't check those cameras often enough, or even too often, you'll come legging it down the hallway, straight through the left door. You'll want to avoid that. Now, regarding the animatronics, why would they come into your office? Well, they're left in a free roaming mode to prevent their servos from locking up. Originally, they'd freely wander the building during the day, too, but then there was an attack on some poor sod. We'll get to that later. But basically, the bottom line is, if the animatronics see you after hours, chances are they won't perceive you as a person. They'll probably believe that you're a naked endoskeleton without its costume on. Now that's against the rules here, therefore they'll try to forcefully stuff you into one of the suits. Yeah, now I know what you're thinking. Why would that be such a bad thing? Well, it wouldn't. That is, if the suits themselves weren't filled with crossbeams, wires, and other animatronic devices. So, you can imagine how having your head stuffed inside one of those things could prove to be fatal. So, as I said, one of the animatronics had apparently attacked someone not that long ago either. I guess I've just been living under a rock. And yeah, I was one of those as a younger kid where the whole idea of singing robots and half-ass made pizza never appealed to me, honestly. So I guess I only had some vague knowledge that, well, to put it bluntly, shit went down big time 3 years ago. Anyway, I dug up some old files and articles related to the establishments out of my manager's office. You see, being an insider has its benefits. Apparently, the old location used new variants of the animatronics you see today. They were dubbed by the company as the toy variants or something like that. The ones in service now are actually much older, coming from the first location, when it was known as Fredbear's Family Diner, or something similar. They were indeed out of service at the time, but they were kept as a cheap way out for parts. They had, at one point, attempted to retrofit them with newer technology. However, this had just resulted in more technical difficulties. So instead, they went forth with newer, more kid-friendly models to coincide with the grand reopening. Everything seemed fine for the first couple of weeks. A new security guard was also hired, and so began a business not too different from how it is now. Soon after, they moved this security guard to the day shift, whose first assignment was a birthday party, I think. Well, basically, they had had trouble with the animatronics before, as they were beginning to act more or less hostile towards the staff, and still rather peculiar to adults who were present with the kids, only acting normal to the children. Well, after a close inspection, it appeared that someone had been tampering with the character's AI and facial recognition system, which was used to detect criminals from a database. The company did heed out a warning towards all members of staff. For whatever reason, an animatronic began to severely malfunction, as if corrupt. Its voice box was stuck on an endless loop, and it went to attack the manager. However, the newly assigned day shift guy managed to get between the automaton and the cowering man in time to save him, but in the process the animatronic bit him, and it severely damaged his frontal lobe beyond repair. This would lead to what the press, the locals, and even those involved with the company would dub the Bite of 87. After the horrific events that took place, the pizzeria was forced to close its doors and scrap the toy variants to ensure no one else would be harmed. The identity of the animatronic responsible were never publicly given, because, strangely, all witnesses present at the time, save for mentally handicapped Fitzgerald and his family, went missing shortly after. Of course, to the authorities who'd had enough at this point, it was all just a coincidence. Idiots. Then, the older models were also kept in hopes of a reorganisation of the restaurant, where you are now, albeit on a smaller budget, hence the limited power. Now, why would anyone come back after this? Well, it wasn't exactly down to the company at the time. You see, an employee had an aggressive dispute with the higher-ups about his pay and his hours, as well as the conditions of his workplace. He was let off with a warning and told to return to work. The next day, he hid in the pizzeria, dressed as one of the mascots, and lured 5 innocent kids into the emergency storage room, where he murdered them in cold blood. The bodies were never found. However, testimony from the then-current night guard and footage from the camera feeds confirmed this to be true, and he was subsequently incarcerated for his crimes, and therefore Fitzgerald was moved to the day shift in his place. If he was to break out of the slammer, then God have mercy on our souls. Who knows what that sick bastard would do? Anyway, with regards to the emergency and storage room, you won't find it by looking at the cameras, nor by looking at a layout of this place. You see, it's actually hidden with a false wall. Hardly any employees can go in. Well, me being an exception as a cleaner, I found it by mistake in my first week. Well, also no customers may enter, although they're not exactly going to suspect a room where they see a wall. What's in there, you may ask? Well, honestly, I'm not 100% sure exactly, but I do have a hunch. I mean, I've seen it, obviously, it's just a matter of what it is. According to some documents I found... wait. One sec. Yeah, here. Basically, back in the day of Fredbear's family diner, the animatronics weren't very advanced, as you'd expect from around 20 years ago. Before the creation of the current models, they had only 2 suits originally, which were both animatronic and half costume. The mechanical parts inside of them were designed to be tightly compressed against the outside of the suit, using spring locks to hold them in place, allowing someone to enter and wear the suit. However, the spring mechanisms were faulty to the point where breathing on them lubricated them and caused them to malfunction, thus making it extremely dangerous to wear, because in the event that the spring locks malfunctioned, all the compressed animatronic parts would quickly shift back into place, severely injuring and most likely killing whoever was inside the suit. Therefore, they needed a way to cover up the deaths of those who died in the hybrid suits, as well as hide the evidence in case suspicions were aroused. And so the fully animatronic characters were born. Unfortunately for them, an employee let the whole thing slip, disgusted and scarred for life at the grotesque secrets the owners kept. The 2 original owners were prosecuted for murder, before the animatronics were sold off to what is now Fazbear Entertainment, and the restaurant was rebranded as Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. The first Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was a small location. However, due to success, they eventually did expand it to a bigger building, at least by 1987. That went well. Well, given the design I saw of, well, whatever it was, it appeared to be an older variation of Bonnie. It had definitely seen better days, though, as it was tattered, with wires exposed and mechanical areas showing, as well as damaged and worn exteriors. I could have sworn at first there was something inside it, almost like a corpse, but I don't even know. Whatever happened to the older one, I don't even know. It's safe to assume one of them may have been Freddy, and maybe even the first one. But again, I don't know. The history of this place is that fucked up, honestly. It sounds like an idea someone had for a gruesome horror attraction based off old stories. Look, bottom line, I'm praying to God that if someone receives this message, someone other than the company gets to it, it'll be erased instantly. My death will be in vain. People need to know the truth behind this chain of restaurants. Please, if you're my replacement, you value your life? Get out, whilst you still can.